Welcome back to Murder with a Mrs. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy. And today we're going to tell you about Chanda Turner.
Don't forget to smash that like button. Check out the description for the links of all of our podcast platforms, Cash App, and Buy Me a Coffee. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends. Welcome back. It's Friday.
Yeah.
It's time for the weekend.
Yes.
Time to go party, have some beers or whatever. Coffee.
Okay. Coffee.
Whatever you got. Whatever you guys do.
Whatever your vice is.
Whatever your vice is. You know?
Oh, Lord.
Maybe go out and have some dinner.
Ooh.
You know?
Date night.
Yeah, date night, whatever, you know. Do you, boo.
Whoa. Okay.
Anyway. All right, let's get to it.
I know we did the Colin Griffith story that had, or case that had ties to Oklahoma, and hopefully we can revisit that one.
And that was last week.
Right.
That was what, Tuesday? Last Tuesday? Not this recent Tuesday, the Tuesday before.
Right.
So this recent Tuesday was Terrence and Felipe, the Circle K case.
Yes.
So just clarifying.
But I feel like we haven't done an Oklahoma in a minute, so I wanted to do one, and this one's up.
There we go.
There is a trigger warning for this one for self-harm, so safety first, as always.
Trigger warning. There's
also a lawyer involved in this one, so I feel the need to say up front that we are expressing our personal opinions. They hold no weight in an investigation. They are just how we feel, and we are entitled to that. We are for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. Come on.
Don't sue me. Okay.
I mean, really?
What?
I mean, come on. That's why
People
we're here. We're here to get the story out.
You know how often Nancy
We're
Grace
here to
gets
keep a story going, to keep people's information out there.
And sometimes we have strong opinions on what happened.
I have very strong opinions about a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And everything. And if you can't take it, don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah. Very true. I like the way you said that.
Yep.
We are talking about Chanda Turner. She was raised in and graduated from school in Elmore City, Oklahoma. And we have a lot of small towns here. Hell, we live in one. But according to the 2020 census, the population of Elmore City was up to 738 people. So that should give you an idea of the area that we're in this case. She had been born on May 4th of 1977 to Joe Dale and Donna Jean. Joe and Donna would go on to say that if Chanda was in the room, that there was going to be laughter because she was funny and vivacious. Same girl. I'm the same way. So it was a little hard for them and anyone who knew her really to believe that on Thursday, July 13th of 2000, 23-year-old Chanda had been found outside of her house in Pauls Valley with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. There was just no way. Donna and Chanda had been shopping together the Saturday before. The family celebrated a grandmother's birthday on Sunday. She had just talked to her on the phone, and Donna said that Chanda told her that she would call her tomorrow when she made a doctor's appointment. And that was her state of mind just hours before her death. So nobody was buying it.
Yeah, but that didn't always mean anything.
That alone, no.
You know what I mean?
You're right. That alone, no, means nothing.
We're not saying that it is what it is, but...
Right. But it always causes people to believe, a person's mental status right before something like this happens. It's kind of important to point out where they were.
Yeah. But I'm not going to make a judgment just off of one paragraph either.
Nope. Not all by itself. Putting on a front so you don't worry people who love you is also very common. So you just got to take this as a piece to a bigger picture. Always keep that in mind.
Exactly.
Chanda had been talking about starting paralegal school in the fall. She was currently working at a law firm and liked it, so she was planning on making it go further. Like, I like what I do here. I'm interested. I want to be a paralegal. So she was making plans. And Donna was the one that the sheriff's office made the notification to that day. Joe was about 12 hours away for work. And he said that he normally would call home in the evenings when he was out of town just to check in and talk about Donna's day. But on this day, he randomly called just after 7 in the morning. So he feels like that was maybe his gut instinct that he needed to call home. And Donna had tried telling him just to come home. But you can't just say that without the other person questioning and demanding answers. Like, why are you talking like that? What's going on? So she ended up having to tell him that his daughter had been found. And it seems the sheriff's office had come to the door asking if she had a daughter named Chanda, Donna said yes. And she was told, well, she's dead.
That was really how he said it?
That's what Donna says. So I was like, wow, okay, that person maybe shouldn't do death notifications anymore.
That was kind of
That's harsh.
That was like heartless.
Very, yeah. Now, after she heard that, she said she remembered hearing someone talking. Someone was saying her name. She was aware that people were there, but she must have blacked out because she suddenly couldn't answer. She couldn't see straight. Like, you know how it is. They find out that Chanda had a gunshot wound to the chest. So the fact that she was not showing signs of wanting to hurt herself, the fact that she was making plans for her future, and now they find out she supposedly shot herself in the chest, which is not a typical location for self-harm. Red flags are flying.
Yeah.
They knew that she would have been taken to the medical examiner's office, right? Because an autopsy would need to be done. Typically, in an unintended death, it's required. But when they asked where they took her so that they could go to her, Joe and Donna were told that she had been taken to a funeral home. Now, when they got to see her, they were shocked. There were a lot of bruises, scrapes, and cuts on her. Bruises on her arms, legs, shoulder, all different parts of her body. And Joe says that it looked like she had been beaten up from the neck down. So Donna took pictures of the injuries, and then they headed to Shanda's house, a house that Chanda lived in with her boyfriend, Robbie Tucker.
Okay. So now I see where this is going.
Maybe, maybe not.
Well, I'll go where the evidence leads me.
There you go. Good call. Robbie was the one who had actually found her.
Of course.
Evidence, remember?
Okay.
His version of events is that on Wednesday, they hung out a lake with another couple, Heather and Andy. They had all been drinking, as you do.
Okay.
And Andy ended up getting into an argument with Chanda and Robbie, so he took off, leaving Heather behind. Now, she ended up going to Chanda and Robbie's house to sleep on the couch. In fact, she was still asleep on the couch until the police woke her up. She was out. She told them that before falling asleep, Chanda was smiling and happy, just like she always was. Now, Robbie says that he was asleep, but he woke up to see Chanda wasn't in bed. He went to look for her, but she wasn't in the house either. He went out the door on the south side of the house, so it's like the back door, and found Chanda on the steps outside, slumped over. He tried to check her to see if she was alive, so he moved her off the steps and laid her on the ground. After he realized that she was dead, he left and went to his dad David's house, which was about half a mile down the road. He says it was to get help and use the phone to call 911.
So Robbie called 911.
No, he did not. He and David went back to Robbie's house. It was over an hour after he found the body that his stepmother, Sandra, called 911. She said, "We think a lady's been shot."
We think a lady's been shot.
Yes. We think a lady's been shot. I don't know the details. I don't know nothing. I was just told to call you. I think she's real bad. And I've called the ambulance to come out there, but they want the police out there. Now, I was a little confused about how she called an ambulance and then called 911 to get the cops. It's a small town. Maybe she knew the paramedic on duty personally and called direct. There really hasn't been any clarification on how she got an ambulance without calling 911. So I don't know what to say about that. The operator asked if she would be there when they arrive, and she says, "No, I'm not even there. My husband went down there. They said he just thought she'd been shot. He didn't know for sure." Now, I got hung up on the he that she was talking about. Like, was it Robbie or was it David?
Yeah.
There's obviously no phone at Robbie's house. That's why he would have to go to David's to call for help, right? And they've never said whether he had a phone at his house or not. So I have to assume that he didn't. So if David told her that he thought she'd been shot and he didn't know for sure, then David would have had to go to Robbie's and then come back to have Sandra call 911. So that's why I got mixed up. I'm like, what he you talking about? Because she started it out with my husband. So I don't know. Maybe it's just something I'm focusing on. Now, if he did that, then he would have had to go back down to Robbie's again. So that extends the time between when she was shot and when help was actually called and arrived.
Yeah.
And that's just something to keep in mind. Also, the fact that they didn't know if she was shot.
So there was no gun with her?
Oh, there was a gun when the cops got there, yes.
With her?
Right there on the step. right on the top step where it meets the house.
Next to her.
Yeah, where her body was when Robbie found her. Maybe he just didn't see it, I guess. I don't know.
So shot in the chest, and she laid the gun next to herself.
It was, well, when the cops got there, in their crime scene photos, we'll post them. You can see the gun sitting up by the door, like where the steps meet the door. So it would have literally fell right beside her, I guess. Now I'm going to give the police a participation trophy for parts of this case because they did do some things, but don't get too excited. Even Donna noticed a glaring issue when she went to the house to get Shanda's favorite dress to take to the funeral home. And that was a pool of blood soaking the carpet inside the house at the south door. And the cops noticed it too. And they went into this how we say they always should, treating it like a homicide. So yay for that. For all of about 3 hours.
Good night.
That's when the medical examiner investigator ruled it a suicide, and the investigation was done. Keep in mind, though, that I said investigator, not a doctor. The investigator.
Yeah, it's a medical examiner investigator.
Right.
Okay.
One of the police reports shows that they observed a white female victim laying on her back near the south entrance door to the residence.
Isn't a medical examiner in their job just to rule if they're dead or alive?
No.
And as to how they became dead or alive?
They do that, yeah. So that's part of the investigator part. They have to look at the scene.
I guess the coroner's job is to rule if they're dead or alive. That's right.
Right.
I got you.
But the medical examiner has to investigate everything or what they can. Okay. So they found, like I said, the officer said that she was laying on her back near the south entrance door of the residence. The victim had a large amount of blood on her clothing. A hole appeared to be a bullet entrance wound was located on her shirt near the center of the chest. The cloth around the hole was burnt. Large deposits of blood were found on the porch steps and the west of the steps. The south door had what appeared to be a bullet hole that passed through it. There were 4 .380 caliber bullets found on the porch steps, along with a .380 caliber semi-automatic pistol that was jammed with one spent shell casing. So definitely a gun.
Yeah. So, I mean, a gun, bullets on the porch.
Yep.
And a gun, a gunshot wound to her chest.
Yep.
But Robbie didn't know if she was shot.
Right. He didn't know if she was shot or not.
Got it.
Yeah.
Pool of blood in the living room.
Inside
but
the
yeah,
door.
she was on the porch.
Right. Now, maybe he was in a panic. I don't know. And there was a bullet hole in the door to indicate that she was shot while sitting in front of the door, right? Yeah. It makes sense. The report went on to say that he observed blood inside the south entrance door on the carpets. Like I said, the police did notice it, like what Donna said. So how did all that blood, a pool of it, they call it, how did it get inside? The door was obviously closed because the bullet went through it. So I guess it must be magic. But it also said a couple other interesting things, like that there was blood on the bed in the couple's bedroom, the bedclothes, and the curtains. What?
Yeah.
Also, it says that Robbie had a laceration on his left arm, a large bruise on his left torso, and blood on his hands, feet, and body.
So it sounds like Robbie might have been in a fight.
Yep. Sounds like Robbie might have had a little altercation.
Yeah.
It says that the officer had to wake Heather up. Poor thing. She was drunk. They had to wake her up, and she was observed being unsteady on her feet, had a strong odor of alcohol, and was unable to speak coherently. So sounds like she was still drunk and slept through whatever happened in that house. And there's plenty of fuckery to raise concern. But as soon as the medical examiner investigator said suicide, the investigation completely shut down. Like they just stopped everything. He said the wound was on the upper left chest. There was gunshot residue on her right hand. There was a bruise on the knuckle where your pinky finger meets the hand. And it was big enough that it went over onto the ring finger knuckle too, of the right hand. So the investigator said it looked to be from the action of a slide on a handgun.
Okay. I mean, that's the wrong side of the hand.
If you're holding a gun, how is this getting bruised from the slide?
Exactly.
It's way on the other side of your hand.
That's not, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's not.
That's not right.
I don't even know if it's possible.
According to the medical examiner investigator, it is. So,
I mean, because even when I'm shooting or anything like that, I mean, it like
here, yeah, it can
gets
come
me right.
here.
It gets me right here. The slide gets me right here, and
But
I mean that's just because I hold it accidentally. I hold it wrong. You know what I mean? And it's just.
But that's also if you're shooting in front of you. This would have been her shooting at herself. So,
But even at that, I mean, what is she sitting there?
I guess she'd have to hold it like that with her hand twisted to shoot it upside down. No, because then the gun would still be down there. Yeah.
Man.
I still can't make it make sense.
That's a wild accusation right there.
Yes. All of this, along with the fact that it was believed that Robbie was very controlling, none of this sat right with Joe and Donna. Yeah. And by controlling, they said that he would like take her to work or go to work with her and then sit in the car outside waiting for her to get off work. Like, why?
Well, okay.
Why are you there? No, not like you.
Not like saying that's, no.
Oh.
So, I mean, if I'm just thinking, I mean, I'm not saying that this is right or wrong or anything like that, but maybe they was just low on money, so they was trying to save gas.
But why would he just sit in the car? Why didn't he go do whatever he needed to do?
Because then he'd be wasting gas.
So why is he there?
I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, if he drove her to work, maybe he's just chilling.
I guess he was bored sitting at home.
I mean, it does sound very, very controlling. I mean, but it's just, I'm saying.
Yeah, that was just one example, Dave.
Maybe she didn't like driving. I don't know.
Maybe not.
And so, you know what I mean? Maybe she didn't like driving, so he drove her to work, and then he just sit there and chill, you know?
I just couldn't figure out why you'd want to sit in a car for 8 hours. Yeah. And it was 2000. It's not like he had a cell phone to like play games or watch TikToks.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, the way this is reading out, I mean, it's not looking good for him, buddy.
Not looking good. And it only gets worse. They tried to postpone a funeral for as long as they could. The family was begging for an autopsy, even offering to pay for it. But the sheriff's office kept refusing, and the family ran out of time.
They can't refuse it. Then why?
It's a suicide. They will not allow an autopsy, and the family can't just have one done.
Why?
So, well, I guess back then you couldn't. What? I don't know. They were begging for it. They were trying to get it, and nobody would do it.
It's up to the family to get one.
No.
No?
No. There should have been an autopsy because it was an unintended death. So regardless, there should have been one. But since they ruled it as a suicide, they don't have to do one. And the family can't make them do one. Back then, they couldn't make them do one. And we'll talk about that a little later, too.
Yeah, but I mean, when Dad died and everything, you know, they asked us if they wanted to.
Right, because it was an unattended death.
Oh, okay.
Right. And that was in 2007.
But I would think that would be up to the family, not up to whoever. I mean, I would think that if the parents didn't agree with a decision or whatever, then the parents should be able, or the family should be able to say, yes, we want a second opinion.
I want you to keep that in mind.
Okay.
Did we go talk about it?
Okay.
So they had to bury her for now. They picked a spot at the cemetery that was at the highest part of the land available, and they made sure to put her in a sealed crypt.
Okay.
To try to preserve as much as possible while they kept fighting. They knew that one day they would win and that she would have to be exhumed to have an autopsy done. So they were making plans.
Yeah.
They're like, you won't let me do it now? One of these days, it's going to happen. So they put her in the best place they could at the time.
Okay. So here we're going to stop. And we're going to play play our ad from our sponsor. So just hang with us and we'll get right back to the story.
Do you or someone you know live in an apartment community? Are you balling on a budget? Make your money work for you.
Some apartments don't even offer a washer and dryer included in the lease. If you want that life, you need to contact My Laundry Solutions.
They service areas in Oklahoma, Missouri, and Texas. Their newest location is in Fort Worth, with more locations opening in Texas in 2025 and 2026. Check the website for locations near you. There's no credit check. Every contract includes free local service. They professionally install, and your account is available 24/7 online. Go to your leasing office, go to mylaundrysolutions.com, or call 800-535-4411.
Stop wasting your hard-earned money at the laundromat and give My Laundry Solutions a call today. Give My Laundry Solutions a call.
Call them up.
Yep.
Or go online. Their website has a lot of information.
Their website is real easy to navigate.
Very easy,
and everything. We go on there just to get information if we need to for for the ads and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
super easy to navigate and to go on there and everything. And they're great people. So, I mean, if you call them, they're
Very helpful.
they're very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, back to the story.
Now, several months later, the family got a package delivered to their front door from an anonymous someone at the Garvin County Sheriff's Office. He said, "I have exhausted everything I can do. I hope you have better luck." Inside the package was all the police reports, the crime scene photos, and witness statements. All the stuff that the sheriff's office had on the case. So Joe and Donna called him a lawyer, a defense attorney, so that attorney could tear the case apart. That was their words. They wanted somebody to tear it apart and give them an honest, unbiased opinion. Like, are we crazy? Tell me what's going on. I'll take whatever you say. And that's what they said. Whatever you say, we'll go with it. But we just need somebody else to say we're not crazy. And this person was Jay Mindros. She looked over the case file and found absolutely nothing that supported that this was a suicide. Only that it had been staged to look like one. And they did a pretty shitty job doing it. The scene did not add up to Robbie's version of events, and he had fresh injuries on him. There was a lot of blood in the bedroom. The police report said that there was blood on the bedclothes, but in the crime scene photos, the sheets were missing from the bed because you can see the mattress, which also had blood on it. Donna said that she saw blood high up on the walls in that room. Plus, we know it was on the curtains. And one of the most obvious signs of crime scene tampering was the spray bottle of cleaner next to the bed.
Somebody's cleaning up in there.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
There was evidence that someone had tried to clean up some of the blood. Now, Attorney Jay believes that she was hurt in the bedroom, carried to the back door where she would have had to been set down so that the door could be opened, and that would have caused that blood pool right in front of the door, and then put outside on the steps. So someone hurt her, I don't know who that would be, and then moved her, then went and called for help. Just saying. They were saying that there was not enough blood on the steps to support the story that she had shot herself right there on the steps. That made me think about the time in between when she was found and when 911 was called. Because based on Robbie's timeline, like I said, there was over an hour of time. And a theory is that he went and got his dad to help him move her
outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Allegedly. Now, the sheriff's office said that all the blood inside the house was just transfer from Robbie. When you see these blood pools, come on now. Even though he himself had said he didn't remember going back into the house after he found Chanda. I guess he either slept with his car keys in his pocket or he left them in the vehicle then, because how'd he drive to his dad's house? They also point out that Robbie didn't have any gunshot residue on his hands, failing to mention that when they did the test, he also didn't have any blood on his hands. Remember that officer's report said he had blood on his hands from touching her body to move her to see if she was alive.
Yeah. Yeah. He washed his hands.
He washed his hands. And nothing
and
else.
He had plenty of time to do it.
Plenty. Who knows when this actually happened? Oof. And nothing else on him was tested for GSR that I saw. There was a list in the package of the names of 21 people who came and went from the house that day. Now, 3 of the names I could make out could have said deputy in front of them. I think it said DPY or DTY in front of them, meaning that would leave 18 random people, a lot of who were Robbie's family members, who went onto the property and through that crime scene, including Robbie's stepdad, defense attorney Robert Rennie.
Of course.
Of course. Now, Donna and Joe say that Chanda had to fight to stay alive, so now they fight for her. They speak for her because she can't defend herself in this. And so that's what they do. But it would be 9 years after her death that the district attorney got a court order for an autopsy.
Good.
So she was exhumed. Oklahoma medical examiner Dr. Colley, along with Dr. Charles Bucks, who was hired by Shanda's family, they did the autopsy together. And they said that the path of the bullet was from front to back with a slight downward trajectory. And
so somebody that was taller.
From up above. And a little from left to the right. The bullet hole in the door was slightly upward, not downward. So it doesn't add up. They believe that she was shot in the bedroom, that the gunshot residue on her hand was because she was in the vicinity of it. She was likely trying to grab the gun to keep from being shot, or at least was close to it when it went off. Also, there was nothing about the gunshot that would have immediately killed her. She would have been able to move around and talk while she bled out. And there was an EMT report showing that either David or Robbie said at the scene that she was sitting there talking after she was shot.
So they could have waited for her to bleed out before they called 911.
They could have. That's a theory. Attorney Jay pointed out that if they hadn't waited at least an hour based on Robbie's own timeline, that they could have saved her if they wanted to. She also pointed out that it says after she was shot, not after she shot herself. Now, before Dr. Trant could change it from suicide to homicide, because that's what it's now believed to be, he was fired. Coincidence?
I think not.
And he has since passed away. His replacement left it as a suicide. Still marked it as no autopsy being done. He even checked a box saying that a heavy truck was involved.
Oh.
Yeah. He got her birth date wrong. Like there was so many inconsistencies.
Was he drinking?
Had to be. Who knows what was going on around there? It was very sloppy. But they got some new faces around the county there in 2012. The cause of death was changed to could not be determined, and that was enough for the new sheriff, Larry Rhodes, to reopen the case. Finally.
Okay.
He said that the initial investigation was substandard, throwing in that anytime a person does not try to get help for someone in a reasonable amount of time, and then that person dies as a result, that could be treated as a manslaughter or second-degree type of murder charge. So he's on board. Let's look into this. And I would love to say that the case took off from there, but it didn't. It hasn't gone anywhere. And I will say that Robbie is innocent till proven guilty, and to date still has not been charged in this case. I don't see how. But that doesn't mean that he hasn't been out doing shit. He has been involved in a lot of stuff, actually. Let's look at through his court.
And I bet stepdad's been right there with him.
He has. Good call. He is the attorney listed on most of the court docs that I saw for Robbie. But Robbie would eventually get arrested for shooting with intent to kill and aggravated assault and battery for a new girlfriend's case.
Huh.
Yes.
Go figure.
They asked the family, were you surprised? And they said the only surprise is that it took him that long to do it again. So, yeah. Preliminary findings show that he hit his girlfriend with a pistol in the face and fractured her orbital bone. And then he shot her in the arm while she was trying to raise her arm to shield her face.
Which would probably what happened to
Chanda.
Mm-hmm. She probably grabbed the gun while he was pointing at her.
Yep.
And that's why she had gunshot residue on her.
Yep. Good call. Now, when arrested in 2016 for that, he had 6 other pending criminal cases. 2 involved domestic violence against the same girlfriend that he had shot. 1 case was for breaking and entering into her mom's house, and 1 was for assault and battery of a police officer. You see how this is going. He seems to be a little violent. He did plead no contest in the shooting case, so he was found guilty, and he got 10 years for the shooting charge and 5 for the battery to be served concurrently. He was sentenced in 2018 and got almost a year knocked off for time served, so he could get out of jail any time now if he's been a good boy, because that would only put him being in jail till 2027 if he served the full sentence. And we know they like to let him out early. So just saying.
Yeah.
Joe and Donna fought because if the cause of death was not ruled a suicide 3 hours in, this could have had a much different outcome. In 2011, we got the Chanda Turner Reform Act, allowing families to present evidence to a judge in hopes of changing the ruling of the medical examiner. So that's why I said keep that in mind when you were saying the family should have a say-so.
Yeah.
Now they do.
Good.
Because of this act. But back then they did not.
That's just ridiculous. Because, I mean, if it's their own kid or whatever, own family member, they should have the choice.
And they were like, we'll pay for it. You don't even have to come out of pocket.
It's not even going to cost the taxpayers any money.
Right?
You know what I mean? It's not, you know what I'm saying?
I 100% agree.
But.
And that's where they're at. They still have done nothing on this case.
Well, I mean, They need to pull their head out their ass because on this one right here, I mean, it was
obvious.
He has the charges that support
yes
what happened on other people, and it matches up with what happened to her.
Eerily similar.
You know, it's just he got caught for these, so they need to reopen this one because now they have grounds.
Yeah.
To proceed with this other one.
I concur. When they got this Reform Act passed, when they started looking into it, there were like dozens of complaints against the medical examiner's office in this area.
Yeah.
Dozens of people were like, you're wrong. So who knows how many cases could be reopened if they just get into it. Anyways, but that's where we're at on this case. Right. So if you have any information on Shanda's case, there is a $100,000 reward last I checked. You can call the Garvin County Sheriff's Office at 405-238-7591. And if you do like our content and want to contribute to the channel, there's lots of ways to do it. Number one will always be like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when new episodes drop. We do have a Cash App that you have to access by our email. So it's d&a.truecrime@gmail.com.
And buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/MWTM. And don't forget to tell your friends.
Always.
Because we are always looking for mostly subscribers.
Yes, spreading the word.
More than anything, tell your friends so we can get subscribers and everything, because that's the main goal.
And we cover some cases that people don't cover or haven't covered in a long time. So this would help get the word out.
If you have a new case that you guys want to hear, email us.
Yeah.
So till next time, guys. See ya.
Bye.